they use expressions and words that shouldn't be really said. It should not be said. Vulgar, very vulgar. I tell you, it runs rampant. It really, really runs rampant. And I'm always surprised when I go to outings and whatnot, and especially when you have the real big sporting events, and people, it's this language that comes from their mouth, and it's like, whoa, it shouldn't be said, especially among some people that and it's like, whoa. I mean, why would you be talking like that? And you have your family right with you. They don't think nothing of it. They're with their friends, and they're trying to impress. But you can't. That's not impressing God. In fact, God said, don't talk like don't use curse words and say curse words. Another thing that seems to be going on in our world today is that, people, they're unashamed of what they wear. They want to show off. And it's like, wow, it's just crazy. So we have to be on guard at all times because, you know what? As they say, you give Satan a hand, she'll take a mile, and it just happens. So, how's y'all week been? How's it been? Anything unusual going on? Good week, y'all. Well, I'm sure anybody doing either beef noodles or whatever, was that what it was? If that one picked you up or any of her soups, I don't know if you're going to be picked up, right? Okay, a lot of you ladies who cook and whatnot, and it's got to be helping Mr. John. That's all I can say, because that's a wonderful thing, especially on a cold day. There's nothing better than eating some hot soup on a cold day. There's just nothing better. Not at all. So, as we look into this, folks, as we've been talking about, we must show respect to God in praying. We have to show Him respect because God, you're talking, to the Supreme Being. This is not no marble entity. This is not some creature of the galaxy, so to speak. We're talking about the creator of all, and we're dumbfounded because in a sense that he's so great. And we should show respect to one another the best we can, and prayer will help us to do that. Prayer will. Have you ever had somebody that you just don't see eye to eye with? Maybe oh, you're going to be such a helpless God. You're going to be such a good boy, aren't you? You just, you got a car. I know. That's if I would drive with your daddy, I'd be going, oh, no. But when we look and we ask God that, God, please help us to get along with someone that maybe we don't get along too well with. And that's something where you got to ask God. Maybe there's someone that you would, why do they treat me the way that they treat me, or treat me the way that they treat you? Or how can I do better with someone that maybe I don't feel comfortable with? How do I talk to someone that has a very high position, and here I am on the low of the totem? How does that work? God help me, and God will. God help me to talk to anybody you need to talk. God help me with my marriage. God help me to be a better person. God help me to be a better employee. God help me to be a better citizen. And God will help us. And I said last week, and I explained the power of prayer to you fully. No, I can't exactly do that. I don't have this, I can't. But your study of the scriptures can only do that, ladies and gentlemen. And when we study the scriptures and see how devoutly these people, when they said they got together to pray to God, a lot of the prayers that you'll see in the Bible requested, they were life-changing experiences. And I sit back and I think, man, They were praying. I mean, in fact, it was a matter of life and death. They had that faith to say, God, we have no, the children of Israel, we have no way out. The kings, if we don't stop this person that's going to come in, it'll be like they're going to come in and they're going to desolate this church. And there's nothing we can do. And then that king would take his scroll and just lay it up and say, God, now look. There's no one else we can turn to. We're conquered. Everything around us is conquered. Up and down, north and south, all north and south. We're conquered, okay? We need to call on you. I have nowhere else to go. We're all going to be wiped out. Then God will respond. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind. So when we look at this, ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand that God will help us. He will help us. Does anybody know what longanimity means by chance? Longanimity. Anybody know that? Longanimity. Because someone talked to me this week and they said, I just want to be this. I said, what? What do you want to be? Longanimity. I said, okay, longanimity. Eric, you know what that word means?
I was waiting to get into it.
Okay.
Other than someone told me someone told me they want to be that.
Okay. Samantha, be longanimity with Lucas. Yes, it needs to be long suffering. And so when they said that, I said, okay, that's a new one on me. And you're saying, oh, but it caught my attention. Because that's something, that's on in our vernacular today, but it was years ago. And I was like, well, let's kind of move up to date. So, and then the lady said, well, Danny, long suffering was a long time ago. You got that from the Bible. Okay, that's 2,000 years ago. All right? Well, yes, but the palette changes. But, folks, we need to be that way. We need to be that way. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do, and prayer can help us. We can help one another as we learn together studying the Bible. That's why we come to Bible class. We say we want to grow. We say that we want to be a better man. We say that we want to be a better woman. We say that we want to learn about God. We want to know about the Old Testament. We want to know about the New Testament. We want to know about the patriarchal age. We want to know about the Mosaical age. We want to know about new Christianity, the Christian age. We want to know. But you won't know unless you come and learn. Whoever's teaching the class, or whenever, we want to grow and be strong. We want to be stronger. Well, to be strong at something, what do you got to do? What do you got to do if you want to get better at I don't care what it is. Fill in the blank. What must you do if you want to be a better person? What are you going to do to be a better person?
Work at it.
Okay, work at it, practice it. Pray. More. What else? What do you got to do if you want to be a better cook? Practice? Okay.
Experiment and try to see what works.
Okay. You just keep on doing it, don't you? Sabrina, how are you a great nurse?
You can do it over and over and over, but give it a shot. Make that
Okay, absolutely. And nurses, what are you talking about being long suffering? With doctors and with people who are not feeling good or whatnot. You have to be able to. How did you handle with all those Ohio people? That brought a laugh, didn't it? You like that one? How do we get along? How does it work out? I wondered about the apostles. your children. And I'll tell you what, starting when they're young, like you all are doing, that is the best thing is God. It is the best thing. It's the best thing. I just gotta ask people here. Tim, did you go to church growing up? Your parents take you to church? That's amazing. That amazes me. That's amazing. Yeah, it does. Paul, did you go to church growing up?
Yeah. All my life.
Wow. I can't say that. I can't say I went to church all my life. I can't say that my parents now they became Christians. I can't say that. I can say they became actually strong Christians. But some of us are more blessed than others. Tammy, did you go to church all your life? Now, I'm not saying that to say, I didn't go to church all my life. But some of us has been, Linda Sue. Off and on, okay. By the way, Linda Sue, Linda Kay. They tell me their names and they start out in the middle, so if you start out in your names, I'll start calling you, okay? Get stuck in here, okay? Yeah, sometimes it just goes that way. But I'll tell you that's great. That's great. Prayer will change things in your life. It will change things. We will be seeing some, Lord willing, unless Jesus comes back, some sermons in the near future. I'm sure Anthony will speak on them too in the near future. How prayer will change things. It will change things. And I really believe it, ladies and gentlemen, that prayer will change things. And that's what we're learning about. And how do you get prayer to change things? You tell me. How does that work? How do you get prayers to change things? What does the Bible teach us that prayer will change things? What do you got to do for prayer to change things? What do you got to do?
Pray without ceasing.
Well, that was almost double. Okay? 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Yes, Linda. You got to. By the way, what does that mean?
Keep on praying as much all the time. Much as you can.
I like that. Eric?
Anthony used a phrase in a sermon that I hadn't heard used a ton in church, but I've heard it often on a lot of other places. He used it a couple months ago. It's called heart posture. And to put your heart in the right place and ask the finish of the work is place. To be all things, be honest with God, be all with God. Ask without restriction.
Okay.
Don't put God in the box. Don't put touch on God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've never heard that before. Heart posture.
I like it.
Yeah. So that was before I got here because that's good. That's called moxie. That's called your gut feeling. That's called being incessant. You talk to God. Kind of like what we were talking about Sunday morning. Just be personal with God. Give it to Him. Pray without ceasing. But it will change things. But what about the people who don't pray? What do they have? Nothing. Now I want you to think about that. Do any of you know people in your life right now that they're not church members? Do any of you have friends like that? Maybe not. Maybe. Do any of you have friends that don't pray? Do any of you have friends that don't take their children to church? Why is that? Why? Why would they not do that? They don't care.
Too late.
And that's sad, isn't it?
They don't got time, don't they?
They don't have time.
Some people convince themselves. They have figured out
A better way? can that be that the Bible would throw a wedge between someone that don't see that? How can that possibly be? Because they don't value what it says. The devil. Yeah, Lucas. The devil. You got God and you got the devil. God is so good. Yeah, the devil's so bad. Yes, he is. He is. And you know what? We look at Matthew 7, verse 7. We hear God talking about it. We see that Jesus is on that mountainside. And he, the churches, it hasn't even happened yet, but he's showing the people what it's about. It is going to happen. It's going to happen. And he looks at all those people, and they're curious, they're coming out. They've only been waiting for 400 years. Only 400 years. Is he the one? Is he the one we were thinking about? Is it something's wrong because he worked in wood growing up and his folks, but he's the one. And as he would look at him, he would just say those ask, and it will be given you. Seek, and you shall find. And knock, and it should be open to you. Now, let's just say, Jesus could have said anything he wanted to say, but he was so simplistic. Have you ever thought about that? Ask, seek, knock. 3 things. He says, just do this. And those people looked at him and thought, wow, this guy is, maybe he is God. Because no one spoke like him. No one. Be like Eric, he's out there and he got the microphone. He said, okay, ladies and gentlemen, okay, here comes the Mountaineers. Okay, or I don't know. It don't probably go like that, okay? But the fact of the matter is, all right, you know what? And everybody gets excited. It's just, you're waiting for the entrance. Here comes the basketball team. Here comes the wrestlers. Here comes the volleyball. Whatever sport it is. But you introduce them. How excited do you get when you get introduced to Jesus? Do you get introduced to him? Let me say it again, ladies and gentlemen, and I will be redundant at saying this. The only true peace you will ever have will come from having a right relationship with God through his Son, Jesus Christ, and being filled with the Holy Spirit. All others are totally a facade. They're fakes. In other words, if people don't have that, they will never truly, truly, truly be happy. And you see all these millionaires and billionaires, they're not truly, truly, truly happy. Divorced, remarried, over and over, looking for the right one. What is the right one? Pretty you are, the better you are. Is that how Jesus looks at women? Because there's a lot of people looking at things on cell phones they should never be looking at on cell phones, and they call themselves Christians. And I'm going to be point honest with you. We're being inundated with a bunch of stuff that is killing our minds. You cannot look at this stuff, and if you think that's going to make you to be a better man, it's killing you. It's decimating you. You'll never treat a lady with respect when you look at pornography. I know that for a fact. You say, well, how do you know that? Because I've counseled a lot of people who have. It's not funny to me. People are being duped. You want to find a woman that has respect for herself, not who will take her clothes off for everybody you look at. But I'll tell you what, that's not what the world teaches. You won't get a job on Disney. You will never have a peace of mind if you don't have Jesus in your life. Do you believe that? Do you all believe that? Am I blowing steam right now? 2. I need that tree to go by and beat the horn. Miss Linda? Monday Anthony sermon and you fall asleep. I mean, be honest with yourself. Has anyone in here ever fell asleep when you were praying?
Isn't it better to fall asleep praying than to fall asleep?
And don't you know that God knows when you're asleep and when you're not asleep? He knows what you're thinking. He knows what you're dreaming. He knows anything He wants to know. You don't think God knows what's going in that mind of yours, that cranium of yours? And that's a very good point, because you are what you think, ladies and gentlemen. You are what you think. So, well, I want to talk about now is that this is something very, very vital, very vital. Number one, it is possible to give without loving, but it is impossible to love without giving. It's never going to happen. But people, they do it, they say it all the time. He who did not hesitate to spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, and we know who that is, can we not trust such a God to give us with him everything else that we can need? I mean, if he says, whatever you want, Matthew 7:7, and if God be for us, I'm going to be with you, why can't we just trust him? Why can't we just say, God, help us to be the people we need to be? Don't worry about the opposition. Remember, a kite, this would be good today, a kite rises against the wind, not with the wind. Think about that. You want to know the schematic of it and the engineering process of it. You know, it blows my mind. And the Hebrew writer said, let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. As Linda alluded to, we got to fix our eyes on it. If you want to get good at something, you're going to have to work at it. If you want to lose weight, you know what? You're going to have to walk. You're going to have to eat less. Now that's terrible for me, because I like eating. Okay? You like eating, Jason? Okay. Well, it's just, you know, I like sweets. Anybody in here like sweets? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I had a dream about a cookie.
I mean, not about the cookie, but like it involved the cookie. I remember I was eating a cookie while like cookies was being made.
There you go. That's pretty heavy. Yeah, what kind was it?
Chocolate chip.
Okay. Love chocolate chip cookies, okay? I mean, but what the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we have to take time. The people you love the most, no matter what. I'll say this candidly. They need to see Jesus in your life. If they're not seeing Jesus in your life, how do people see Jesus in your life? I want to know. How do people see Jesus in your life? Loving, compassionate. Okay? Words and actions.
What do you do that people see Jesus in your life that you didn't know? And I say that only because, like, the fact that, like, we go to church 3 times a week, that's who a portion of my family may see certain ministry. And that makes it is, but I don't care. But
Okay, you said that. Okay, we're going to talk about that. What do you do? Well, let's just look and see what we do. Okay? Here we go. Ask and it shall be given you. Samantha. And by the way, I kind of like nuts. But it's okay. I like the Mountaineers too, okay? So right now I like the Mountaineers. Don't I look good in blue? Yeah, I look better in red. But anyway, okay. Folks, if our prayer life is going to be effective, Samantha, we will need to have self-discipline and self-control in our lives. Okay, so let's go over this real quick. There was a book, it was called this. That's My Son by Rich Johnson. Okay? On page, we give you the page and everything, 136. This is not Mr. Allen making it up, because I can make up some really good stories. Now you're thinking, oh, I'm going to Mr. Allen for any stories you already gave. No, I do not. Here's what he said. I love this. It caught my attention. This has been several years ago, over 20 years ago. But it caught my attention. I've had it. I wrote it down. and then I put it to a PowerPoint probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. But nonetheless, I think of discipline as the continual, everyday process of helping a child learn self-discipline. Now listen to what I'm saying here. Self-discipline and self-control are different, yet inexplicably interwoven. They're different, but they're interwoven, okay? Self-discipline is doing something we don't want to do, but should. Now get this. You've got to get this. Self-discipline is doing something we don't want to do, but should. There's a lot of things that just drives you crazy. Like your family, why don't they get it? You ever think that sometimes? Why did my friends, why don't they get it? I'm talking, in marriage counseling, my husband just don't get it. I'm trying so hard, but he doesn't get it. He doesn't see me taking care of my 12 children. That would really be hard to do. Really would. Well, what about one? 2 or 3 or 4? Self-discipline is doing something we don't want to do, but should. Self-control is not doing something we want to do, but should. Have you ever thought of it like that? Play on words. That's vital, ladies and gentlemen. That's very, very vital. Why people don't have self-discipline and self-control, because they make the definition, they put into what they've been taught in college, or how they've been taught by mom and dad, or by the preacher or whatnot. This is, when you look it up, this is what Mr. Webster says, and it's very vital, ladies and gentlemen, very, very vital. We must have self-discipline when it comes to loving hateful people. I'm not saying people are hateful, okay? I don't want to do this, but I need to do it. Why don't they get it? But I need to keep on letting my light shine. I need to do it. If anyone could have gave up, who could have gave up? If anyone had the right to walk away, who could have walked away? Why didn't he? It's incredible to me. Devil can have the power to put someone in jail for life. Okay? In the court system, they let them out in 2 years, okay? No, but I'm serious. He has the power. He has the authority. You know what? You took the life of someone, now you're going to pay the debt. Well, is that wrong? We reap what we all sow, do we not? But he has that much power that that's alarming. That is, wow. And yet the Father, or Jesus, think about the power he has on my life right now. Why aren't you living today? There's a lot of people not living. And there's a lot of people who are dying. They don't know God. How can we get through to them, ladies and gentlemen? I need to have self-control in not talking back to ugly to the person who does not like me. I want to talk back to them, but I know I shouldn't be, or I shouldn't being a Christian. You can't, because I know I got to have self-control. I got to have self-discipline. But boy, has anybody called you to get under your collar? Andrew, have you ever done that, Eric? I didn't think so. Okay? The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Okay? All right? But we can't, because Ephesians 4:29. You can't do it. This was not conjecture. Let no corrupt communications proceed out of your mouth. That's not an easy thing. Maybe your boss at your job. Oh, I mean, Greg, have you ever got mad working at the plant? We get mad. We get upset. Husbands and wives, sometimes we nag. Okay? Folks, the traits sink more men and destroys more lives than any other character deficit. I'm telling you. Because you don't have self-discipline or self-control, marriages they went awry. I'm telling you, this is just the way it is. Statistics bear this out. And I have fallen many times because of this, ladies and gentlemen, in my life as being a minister. Like I said, I never called myself to go into the ministry. It just happened. It just happened. People use me to do meetings and whatnot. But I'll tell you, one of the strongest verses in Proverbs is right there, Proverbs 18, verse 19. Very, very strong. Andrew, would you read that, please? I'm saving you, Eric, because you had to stand behind your back. Okay. I love family. Or, every church I've been involved with, it was, a lot of family. It's his family members because we all know one another. But I love it. And then when you have a mom there with her boys, that's even better. Daughter-in-law, it's even better. And then when you have a whole family, me and my wife and 4 little kids, they were going everywhere. Now listen to what Andrew reads here. This is powerful. And I know you know it, but let it resurface.
A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and contentions are like the bars of a citadel.
Do you know what that really is saying? Let's bring that into our terms to the 21st century. What does that really say, ladies and gentlemen? What does that really say? Linda, how does are you there? How does your translation read?
It's harder to make amends with an offended friend than to capture a fortified city. Prejudice separates friends like a gate. Locked with iron bars.
Okay, very good. I got you. That's good. Okay, yeah. I'm telling you what. If you offend a brother or a sister, ladies and gentlemen, if you really do, it's like bars on a castle. And then you say, hey, why don't you come? Hey, we're having Easter services. Why don't you come? We're having Christmas services. We're having Sunday services. We're having Easter egg hunt, okay? But the day before, you were treating them like you shouldn't be treating them. You think you're gonna, or you said something bad to slander them, or you did something to them. Maybe they deserved it, but you said, you know what? You were late to come to this church anyway. No good. I can't say it, okay? You can't talk that way to people. But sometimes you might even have the right to say things, but the Bible says never cuss at people. You said it doesn't say that. Yeah, it does. You can't expect people to come to a congregation if you don't treat them warmly. And here's the kicker. Everybody knows churches that have done just that. Churches, you know what, I'll never go to that church because I'll tell you what. You know what they have done? Someone has a family member or something. Maybe it's not yours, but someone in here has a family member that's been treated with ill respect. You think I'm embellishing when I say that, ladies and gentlemen? You must have self-discipline. The absence of either of these traits leads men into addictions to drugs or women, gambling, pornography, drinking, adultery, all of which are family destroyers and soul killers. Brethren, we must ask God to help us in areas in our lives that we are weak in. Do you really believe that God will help you? If you were struggling, let's just use one of these that I have up there. There's so many more, a plethora, so many more. But let's just say drinking. Do you think if you ask God, God, just help me, I don't want to drink anymore. I just don't want to drink. Do you think God will really help you? When I'm talking about drinking, I'm talking about you're an alcoholic. You're to the point where you would take your last penny you have and go out and have a whatever before you fed your children. Have anybody ever known anybody like that around here?
And, but also, she had,
Blown up one.
she drank and she was a heavy drinker, and then she almost died, but also she turned her life to God, and she went to church, and she was, yeah,
Wonderful.
turned to be a good Christian.
Barbara, that's wonderful. That God helped her to be a good person.
And it took, her almost dying and stuff, just for, but she learned how to have those cigarettes, so yeah, it's bad, yeah, but she didn't want to drink when she, because she couldn't have her cigarettes.
Okay, that's a compromise. I mean, that's hard. You gotta have one without the other, so you gotta have one that's really you're addicted to, okay? Addiction is hard. It's hard. I'm addicted to sweets. I'll tell you right now. I like chocolate chip cookies. Me too. Eric, okay? And I think, well, you know what? I'm gonna die anyway, so why not? I'm gonna enjoy me a chocolate chip cookie. Okay. Now I have mine in my honey latte. That's how I eat it. That's like, yeah. My girls are cooks. I mean, they are cooks, okay? But look, families. Great families. Beautiful families. Families that you know. I'll tell you what. Someone wants to destroy that family. Who wants to destroy it? So sad. But Andrew, Judy, Stella, Tammy, Tim, Paul, Chuck, I've seen families destroyed by Satan. Have any of you ever saw any family destroyed by Satan? Any of you? You know what? You know why that happens? Because something takes the place of spirituality. Do you think of anything that would take the place of spirituality in the 21st century? No, if you can't, be honest. What could take the place and destroy you and cause you never to come to the George Street Church of Christ or any church to learn about God? Is there anything out there today?
Clears. I mean, love's free. We didn't consider it.
Right. And yet, you can think about this. What is communism? Really? What is communism?
Sure.
Sharing?
Well, yeah, and I guess that's a nice word for it, but that's what you do.
Okay, share.
Nobody gets ahead, everybody stays the same.
Okay. Okay.
Mind control.
Mind control. Okay. There's always different ways we can look at communism, isn't there, Tim? There's a whole different ways you can look at communism. And yet, there's worlds living by it. And yet, all the worlds that are living by it are being destroyed. There has to be something to it. And I'm not the expert to talk about it, but yet I've been in countries and listened to the greatest people that you could ever think of lecture about it.
I heard that Danny said, Philip Priscilla, that were, are the ones that died, Ananias, who died. Yeah, they all were sell their goods, and they would sell some of theirs,
never heard that, but that's interesting, Judy. They didn't have it, well, the thing is, well, maybe, you know, they had what they had. The reason, actually, what happened is they lied to the Holy Spirit. That's why they did it. And the Holy Spirit is God. Okay? But the thing is, you're right, they didn't have to. It was theirs. But they could have just did what they did. What I'm saying is our country, ladies and gentlemen, we live in the greatest country on earth. Do you believe that? What was it? The greatest country on earth? A lot of people say, well, you know, I'm going to go to Belize, or I'm going to go to Costa Rica, or I'm going to go to, you know, a lot of people say, I'm going to go over there, you know, because inflation goes up, up. People promise us the world and they don't give us nothing. What do we got to do? What does Timothy tell us to do about the president, the kings, and the people who run legislation? What does Timothy say to do? Or Paul told Timothy to do for him? Pray for your rulers, for your officials, for your judges, for your blue-collar workers, for the first responders. Pray for them. The answer to any problem in this world is prayer. Now, I don't know if you believe that or not, but I do. Prayer is so powerful. And Samantha, when people look at you and it's like, you're crazy. Go three times a week. You're crazy. But you're not crazy. Because you're being an example. By the way, they would know what Acts chapter 2 says. And they join in together. You talk about sharing. Judy, that is fellowship. What would happen? Okay. Here we, Greg and Linda, and this, you know what? Your house burnt down last night. Everything. You lost everything. You're alive, but you lost everything. What would we do? What would they do in the first century? Do you think they would have helped it in the first century? They did. But that happens today, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it does happen. It just happens. Larry Pitt goes to the Bellsdale Church of Christ. Right down the road, Bellsdale. 4 a.m. is a house went up the wall. Just went up. There was 3 boys that was going to be in that house that night. Garrett, Cameron, and Jordan. By the way, Jordan is my son. He went from Middleburn, he drove over to Bellsdale. And for some odd reason on that night, this past Sunday, he said, let's go out and stay in the camper. And they stayed in the camper. At 4 a.m., that house went up in smoke. Literally melted everything in that house. And Larry called me and said, Danny, all I need, I want you to let me know if your son's okay. I'm like, boy, it's okay. But if they would have been in the house, I don't know if they would have died or not. Good chance they would have died, though. But the thing is, I just need prayer. Just give me prayer. And I thought about what Larry said. I thought, that's a man of God. Had a fire? A spider? Okay. We'll let the judge take care of that spider down there. He'll stay up on it. You killed the spider? Alice, you have to come up with your No, you don't. That's okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I don't like spiders either. Oh, I'm scared. I am really scared. wants to destroy us, but he can't destroy us unless we let him destroy us. And one of the best things you have at your arsenal is saying, God help me. I don't know about you, but I feel the best when I'm praying. I just feel so vibrant. Maybe that's what's wrong with the world. We're not feeling vibrant because it's not the honey latte or the green tea. It's because we're not talking to God. And I think if we would talk to God more by praying, the world would be a better place. Anybody believe in that? We need to be praying for our country. Election time is right now. Everybody is being re-elected or somebody else new is coming in. And we need to pray that God will put the right people at the right places. Because, I'll tell you why, he does listen. He listens. Whenever you're praying for a preacher, this ought to work out for you guys. That could be mind-boggling, couldn't it? No, I'm not saying, well, for this church or any church. You're praying and you're thinking, we're not. Or you get people coming here and, well, you see a lot of, well, anyway. Anyway. Thank you for being here. Lord willing, we'll have services Sunday at 9:30. Talk about the parables at 10:15. Anthony will be doing the morning sermon. And then they're having a singing at the Waverly Church of Christ at 3 o'clock, which is right down the road here. I've never been to it, so ask somebody else. But it's easy to get there, I hear, okay? And so that would be encouraging to go support that. So maybe when you have yours or we have ours, they'll come and support us. Because when you go places to support them, usually people come over to support us. You ever see how that works? Yeah, that's how it goes. Y'all, any other thing that needs to be said? I'm sorry, we're running way over. And there's no evening services.